My name is Zoe Milden. I'm a lecturer here at the University of Plymouth, and my research interest is particularly on earthquakes, and particularly focusing on earthquakes in central Italy. And I guess my main research question is trying to answer whether past earthquakes can tell us about where future earthquakes might occur. So my research looks at historical earthquakes that have happened in central Italy. And we know about these historical earthquakes from written records at the time, which tell us, let's say, this village, on this day at this time, the church spire fell down, or in this village, 100 people died and all the buildings were destroyed. And by looking at those records, we can work out where these earthquakes occurred and how big they were and when they were as well. And so what my research does is I look at the stress change due to these past earthquakes. Because when an earthquake happens, so an earthquake fundamentally is like a break or a tear in the rocks that make up the Earth's crust around us. And so when these rocks break or tear and they kind of slide past each other, this changes how much stress there is in the rocks around. And in some areas the stress is going to decrease, but in some areas the stress increases. And the hypothesis is that where the stress increases, this means that it's more likely for earthquakes to occur in the future. So my research has looked at 34 earthquakes from 1349 up to 2016 in central Italy. And what I've done is calculate all of these stress changes from all these individual earthquakes and add them up over time. And then what I've done is I've gone back and I've looked at my results and said, well, before each of these earthquakes in the historical record, what was the state of stress like on those faults before there was an earthquake? And in the vast majority of cases, what I see is that the faults or the locations of the earthquakes correlate with where there was very high stress from prior earthquakes. And this is a real change which no one has done before and no one has seen before.